To really appreciate all that France's Lot region has to offer, it's best to get up in the air. In the early morning light, you can see all the tributaries of this river, which give the area its name. Also visible, perched high up on this rocky outcrop overlooking the Alzou Valley, is Rocamadour. This vertical village is visited by 1.5 million people every year. They come to discover its colourful heritage and climb the many steps that lead to this chapel called the Chapel of Miracles.
Nobody leaves here unmoved. People are always very emotional when they're in front of the statue of the Virgin Mary, which still touches hearts today. It's amazing.
Pilgrims and tourists alike flock here to see this statue of the Black Madonna, whom many believe has miraculous healing qualities. We leave Rocamadour along this gorge. A small road at the base of the cliffs leads us up to the plateau. It's a dry, almost barren landscape up here, strewn with pebbles, and home to a local breed of sheep, reared for their lambs.
This is the youngest of the flock. He's only 4 hours old. He was born just before noon.
Easily identified by their signature black eyes, these sheep have been grazing in this particular corner of France for years.
There are lots of rocks and very little earth. The soil is very dry. Only this coast breed of sheep can graze on this barren patch of ground.
From the Dordogne to the Lot Valley, our journey takes us on through many hamlets and villages. The road, lined by kilometres of dry stone wall, finally brings us to the region's main city, Cahors, which is famous for its winemaking. Between these two rows of vines, an unusual technique is being employed. The Sigaud brothers squeeze out the grape juices by hand.
We already have an idea about the colour of the juice. We already have a red tint, which is very, very bright. It seems to be a good vintage.
This grape is a Malbec, the main local variety. It's always essential to test a few bunches before the whole crop is picked.
We're ready to harvest.
At the foot of the vineyards, the river meanders peacefully through the valley. From its banks and up onto the slopes, long rows of vines have been planted meticulously in what might appear to be a rather arid soil.
It might look parched to humans, but it's really not for these vines. Even before phylloxera, there were vines here.
It was Jean-Marie Sigaud who first set up the business, but it was his sons who gave it a fresh burst of life. After carefully studying their fields, they've improved their winemaking techniques and found new and interesting flavours.
This new generation has really understood all of our mistakes. They have their own know-how that's different to our own. We don't make wine for fun, but to please those that drink it.
Wine isn't the only speciality of Cahors. Locals here learn how to score a try from a very early age.
We're born with rugby. When you're a kid here and you play with a ball, it's more often oval than round. It brings us together as a community, be it a village or a town. It's a real talking point, a meeting place, and then of course it's a competition.
In order to really discover Cahors, you have to take to the water and navigate its locks.
The lock is 5 metres wide and the boat is 4.8 metres wide. The hardest part then is actually fitting the boat in.
The 14th century Valentré Bridge is a World Heritage Site and the jewel of Cahors. Legend says its architect signed a pact with the devil. The boat's captain never tires of this view.
When you fall in love with this river, you see it in so many different ways. I love it. As soon as I come out on my boat, I'm a happy man.
A short distance down the road is Saint-Cirque-la-Popie. Nestled high above the river, the village has long attracted artists.
Here we're going down the street to the Règne Museum and the Breton House.
Surrealism master André Breton made this place his home.
He fell in love with this village straight away. I always thought it was a magical place. That's why we stayed here. We're mad about it. Breton once said, "I've stopped wanting to be anywhere else."
Danielle fell in love with this place 29 years ago. As well as being the local postmistress, she's also an artist. Danielle knows every last nook and cranny of this village that welcomes 750,000 tourists every year.
Hello, how are you?
This hostel, which is the village's oldest, has long been a meeting point for artists. Many have left their works displayed on its walls. Breton and the photographer Man Ray were both regulars.
It's the soul of the village. This is where we used to come and have a coffee every day. We still do in the autumn when there are less tourists. It was the heart of the village for us.
Some even say that Saint-Cercle-la-Popie itself is a work of art, with its centuries of history carefully preserved in this wild landscape.